What's going on, my friends? You know, when I get something on my mind musically or about something with production music or just music in general or the tools that we use, I'm going to get on and I'm going to talk about it. And I wanted to get on and talk about last video I posted, and I was considering upgrading to Reason 13 just to do it. It went on sale because I wasn't paying $200 for that. I knew going into it that nothing in that Reason 13 update was worth $200. I mean, that's for me. Now, to some other people, maybe so. If it's the only DAW you use, and that's fine. I mean, listen, everybody has their own reasons. I'm not knocking you for like, I can't believe you spent $200 on that. How dare you? Or I can't believe you did that. Was stupid. No, it wasn't stupid. You do what you want to do. You do what works for you. I'm not going to fault you for that. I just personally think that even for what I just did, it wasn't worth it. And I upgraded to Reason 13. Now, I like the browser thing they have, and there's a couple of tools in there that I won't even use. That polyphonic synth, Poly 6, whatever, I won't even use that synth. Occasionally, I got on here duking around with it, and I was just like, it's the same as any other analog synthesizer. You could just use Thor, and it works just as well. But there are some things in it I get why they did it, you know. They compared it to the Korg Mono Poly, which I bought years ago. And a backstory, back in 2016, 2017, I spent like $2,000 with Propellerhead with Reason Studios on all these synths because I was going all in, doing my production music full time. I need all the tools, when I should have taken a lot of that money and put it in with Native Instruments and some other things. It probably would have saved me several $100s or more, probably close to $1,000. But I don't regret it, but I don't use the majority of those tools at all. A lot of stuff I bought, I'm like, why did I just click this stuff? It's $29 here, $30 here. A lot of those tools, before you start buying them, you got to sit down and know if it's something you're going to use long term, if it's going to help your workflow creatively. I mean, that's what it boils down to. And a lot of us musicians, we don't normally in the moment. We get high on this is cool, this is great, you know. And I wasn't using Logic Pro then either. The Reason was my DAW, my main DAW. I came from Pro Tools to Persona Studio One Pro and using Persona Studio One Pro and Reason. And I've said it before, Persona Studio One Pro is incredible. If I wasn't using Logic Pro, I'd be using Persona Studio One Pro. One or the other. I just love Logic Pro. It really is so cool. It's amazing features in Logic, and I just love it. But I still use Reason, you know? But I knew I should have bought a lot of that stuff. So to understand that no matter what I'm saying here in this video, I still have Reason, I still use it. I wouldn't have upgraded it if that was the case. I didn't ditch it. I still bring up Reason VSTs or Reason racks and use some of their effects and stuff. Love it. And, you know, I said in my last video, I encourage you to maybe get some other DAWs and try them out. And each DAW is different. It's like a different instrument. And the cool thing is some of them you can use in other DAWs. Like Persona Studio One Pro's effects and some of that stuff I can use in Logic Pro. The menus there in Logic Pro. They cross over these as plugins. And I think that's cool. I'd love to see Personas take their VST instruments and make them like Reason as VSTs, where you can use them as well in other DAWs. I think that would be cool. You know, you've got guys that prefer Cubase, Ableton Live, which is all great DAWs. I know guys just use Mixcraft or use Bitwig, or they use their PC guys and they use the free one, Cakewalk, which is still out. But I think Cakewalk has been thrown around so much and bounced around like a redheaded stepchild, an orphan, that, you know, who wants it, who's going to put money into it, and there's no money to it, so the development is slowing down. But it still works. Cakewalk has been around. Cakewalk was the first really computer recording before Pro Tools even got into play there. Cakewalk was, well, you were bleeping on a DOS computer, you know, that sort of thing. That dates back like early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. We're talking about deep far back, more than most could ever imagine. I was on analog gear back then, and when PC recorders started coming in, I was doing Sony Acid Pro, which was so cool at the time. It was incredible. And they put recording in there. I just didn't have a computer vast enough, or we had to do sound cards in the computers. You didn't have interfaces, and it was hard to deal with there. I just said, to hell with this. I'm going outboard. I'm staying, you know. I went and used the Roland 1680 complete package, which was incredible at the time. Top tier for its time. It was so incredible. It was right after the Alesis ADAT stuff. And I mean, I come from analog tape, you know, cutting tape and rack gear. I mean, the struggle was real, folks. Nothing like we have today. So moving forward, I upgraded to Reason 13. And I'll tell you, it didn't take me 2 minutes of being on there, tweaking around to say that update wasn't even worth $119, folks. I'm sorry, but it wasn't. You move some menu items around, and instead of, I will say I like when you click the search for a certain instrument, or, the whole search window coming up in the center was cool. But, what Reason needs to do is give you an option to have everything in one screen. You have the buttons up top. It's easier to click through them. That's fine. I think the racks are incredible. I love the console, the SSL Mach-Tech console, because their onboard compression is cool. I love that. But for what little was done, it wasn't worth $119, folks. I mean, to me, I just don't think. Because based on the updates I've gotten in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been using Logic Pro, I've gotten way more than $200. Buku's more the stuff they've added, and they've never charged me one dime. I know guys have been using Logic Pro for the last 12 years or more, haven't paid one upgrade fee in Logic Pro. Now, granted, Apple's got a lot of money. They're not concerned with it. They do a subscription for Logic Pro for iPad, and I get why they do that. I still have yet to dive into that, and I really want to learn it better. It's hard creating. Sorry, I was looking at something over here. It's hard creating on an iPad because of real estate space, and it's a different environment than MacBook and PC and that mouse in your hand and just the way things operate, Plus, Logic Pro for iPad has limited resources compared to what I do. A lot of stuff I need to do production music with, I can't use that. I can't even use just stock Logic plugins for, even though I could. But if I'm to get where I am now and further, there's so much more I've got to do, which leads to another subject on a side note, is sampling things in these new Logic Pro samplers. Getting into more sampling and creating my own instruments and expanding on that will help even wean off a lot of these expensive VSTs that I bought. So, I mean, we as composers can get into a damn rabbit hole buying all this stuff. Your computer gets filled up with them. You're like, holy cow, I got 4 terabytes of hard drive and 3/4 of it is already filled up with instruments and shit. It's like you can get into that rabbit hole. It's software acquisition syndrome, or addiction, so to speak. So you just be careful in that as well. Just know what your focus is, what your tools are, what will work for you, and get as creative as you can. But moving forward, I think, guys, that, you can choose to upgrade Reason 13 if you want to. I don't think there's much difference between 12. The only reason I'd say upgrade it is if to keep up with the latest so everything functions properly. But I'm going to tell you my biggest disappointment, besides a few, with Reason. One is Reason has not gotten to the tier of updating editing tools, latency issues and audio issues, recording audio. It needs to improve with Reason. Some may disagree, but I'm telling you, to the degree that I do it, recording guitars and shit, I'm just telling you right now, and recording with microphones, audio has got to improve. It got good, and then it got worse, and I don't know, in the development in the middle of the last 2 or 3 years, they did something not realizing they screwed up a lot of the audio quality issues and the latency issues they're having. They have no latency compensation monitoring to be able to fix that. They have no means, and you tried everything. It was just, that was one thing. So the next big disappointment in Reason, which is one of the biggest ones that I have, is what they need to fix in Reason. Some of you may know this, is a lot of your older sessions, especially when they change versions, with your external VSTs, you go to bring up your old sessions and you can't find them. You lose these VST plugins and all the settings on it, and it tells you what VST plugin it is, but it doesn't tell you what patch, and it doesn't help you go search for those. It doesn't keep the information in that track to let you go, because I understand that things change, like in Native Instruments, and I'm talking about like Native Instruments patches and stuff like Omnisphere. It's pretty much when you bring a session you haven't done in 2 or 3 years up, they're gone, and it may tell you which one, but you don't know. Now you're struggling to go listen to the original track and try to find what in the world it was. And you don't have time for that stuff. You can't do it. And I just brought up some old sessions for a certain reason. For that reason, I can't do anything with them. I've got the audio backed up. That's why I tell you, no matter what you do, always back up your audio tracks. All your tracks, and do stems as well, which is groups of tracks. There's a difference there. But back up your tracks, because you're going to need that audio. Because if the session quits working, you need that audio so you can go back and edit and do the things you need to do. Because these libraries or these companies may need stems. They may need your audio tracks. But that is a huge disappointment, because Reason has no development in being able to say, let's go find it. We know which one it is. Let's, because sometimes the path is missing, the file chain, the path. You may have changed something in your computer, and that's okay. But Reason has no development whatsoever to help you go find that. It won't even go try it. It just, you try to click some sort of an arrow and nothing comes up. It's a huge disappointment. And these are the things, just numerous things that need to improve in Reason. And again, it's just my take. I don't think the Reason 13 was worth the $119. I'm sorry, Reason, if you're watching this video, but you're going to have to do some serious development and really make it worthwhile to do this. I get that you probably want to focus on instruments and VSTs in your racks, and that's cool. But you're going to have to figure out, as a company, what do you want to focus on? The DAW or both? VSTs only? Reason does a great job. These instruments, incredible. And if they're going to be a digital audio workstation and focus on a lot of things broadly, they're going to have to work on these features with their audio and a lot of their editing. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. Reason, I know you see it, go look at these other DAWs, what they're doing. It's not like it's copywritten. You can build these features in your DAW in your own way. One important thing they need is drag and drop features on everything you do. Yeah, you can drag over from the menu to the rack, but if you look at Persona Studio One Pro, everything you do is drag and drop. Everything you do. Persona Studio One Pro has the most incredible feature of taking the middle of a waveform without slicing it and dropping the volume in the center of it and editing it in the center of it and doing automation in the center of it, and you don't have to cut it into sections. Reason doesn't have that stuff. That's just one little tiny nugget. But you go look at all the hidden features and the stuff that Logic Pro has. It'll blow your mind. I don't use Ableton Live. I never have, but I've seen videos of guys working on it. Go look at the setup of what they're doing on that. And if you look at the Logic Pro for iPad, a lot of people saying it has that Ableton S setup with the squares on the bottom, how they do that. And I get it, I've seen it. I don't know exactly, but any of you that use Ableton, you know what I'm talking about. There's features that just really help your workflow. And with what I do with production music and TV music, Reason just isn't carried it. Last point and final point here that is very important. Reason has to get video support, man. Come on, guys. Everybody's doing it. You're behind the 8 ball. Please give us option if you want to use Reason to drop video in there and be able to compose. Get your processing and your development up to be able to compose in real time with video support. And be able to export the video and the audio or separately in that realm. Logic Pro can do it. Ableton Live's doing it. Cubase does it. Persona Studio One Pro's doing it. I could go on. You get the idea. You get the point. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Come on, Reason. Let's get this stuff. I don't know what's going on over there, and I'm not trying to fault them. There may be some development team issues, trying to get people to get it done. They've lost some team members. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they just aren't interested in doing it, and that's okay. That's their prerogative as a company. But I just believe that Reason needs to address that and tell their users what's going on, where they stand and what they're doing. Because if you look back when Reason 12 was put out, they sent some emails going, listen, we know, they caught some heat for that Reason 12 upgrade because it wasn't up to what people thought it would be. They were pissed at that too. Probably more so than 13, my friends. Because they did some improvements since 13, but not everything. They sent some emails on the timeline of here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to add this in by this time date. They didn't do everything on that list. If you paid any attention to it, they did nothing on that list. Nothing. Not nothing. They did some improvements on they checked off some of the items, but not all of them. Let me correct myself on that. They didn't do everything that they had on that list. That's a better way of putting it. My apologies. At least that I know if they didn't, because I never got any notification and I hadn't seen it. So that's just my take on it, guys. Chime in below if you have anything to add positively, not negatively. This is not what this platform is about. Anything I do on YouTube, keep it productive, keep it positive. There's no point in, if you got something negative to say it's not even productive, don't do it. Think before you comment. But if I'm missing something and I don't know it, I've missed that update or something, chime in, let me know where that's at. I'm human. I can miss things. It's okay. It's all good. But I just want to get on and talk about my take on it, because I just don't think Reason 13's update was worth $119. Those updates shouldn't even been, honest to God, I think the Poly 6 synth should have been something that was added you can sell in the store, because that's no different than just taking Thor and do things. It's an analog Poly synth that you can get Poly and you can get all that stuff without getting technical, which I know some guys are way more technical than I am with synth processing and synthesizers. You know, I guess it just depends on the individual, you know, and how they like synths. They like to work with different synthesizers. You have your own reason to why you would want that over another synthesizer. That's okay, folks. That's quite all right. So anyway, I'm going to get off here. I appreciate you for watching. When something cool in my mind comes on, something I want to talk about, I get on and talk about it. You know, I just try to turn the camera on and be real. That's who I am. And I appreciate you for watching. And hopefully something I say helps. And if not, maybe something else down the road will help. But if you have any questions, anything you want me to talk about that I might know, chime in below. We'll see you on the next one, guys. I appreciate you. Be cool. Bye.